Once upon a time, entertainment and the Walt Disney Company seemed to make sense. They made stuff that people liked, and on the rare occasion when they made something that people didn't like, they tried not to make any more of that. But those days are gone, and we're in a very weird phase right now. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the Galactic Starcruiser, the crazy hotel that existed at Walt Disney World for a very short period of time, recently shuttered in September, all based around the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, and it just did not work. There's not a fan base for that sequel trilogy. They could have, however, put in the characters that people love from Star Wars, and the Galactic Starcruiser would have made them bukus and bukus of money. For those of you who may not speak French or Creole, that is a lot. But they did not. And now the Starcruiser has lost its shot at success. Why, though? Why was Disney so beholden to the sequel trilogy characters? And why do they continue to lose so much money because of that same belief? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. You are welcome here on the WDW Pro channel. And today we're talking about the Galactic Starcruiser. We're talking about the fact that Disney could have put Luke, Leia, Han Solo, and anybody else in that Starcruiser, in that hotel experience, and despite its ludicrous expenses and the cost that it took to get in there, they still would have probably turned a profit for years and years. But they are so beholden to the vision of Kathleen Kennedy, the Lucasfilm story group, even of Rian Johnson until this day, that they refused to get rid of Rey and the rest. And because of that, this is now a shuttered hotel. Why will Disney not sidestep out of this? Why will they not switch tracks and move into something that's more popular? It was the way that entertainment always worked before. Now, not so much. Today we're going to explain it. We're going to dive into the conversation right now. Today we're going to start off talking about something that's very interesting to me, that being the Galactic Starcruiser. They're saying that it might come back. We covered this earlier today. Jonas was on a video with me discussing, that there are some tax hurdles that have to be overcome. Disney has used this as a tax write-down, but there was something in particular that was brought up by Valiant Renegade that I really want to focus in and give you guys the chance to commentate on. I had not thought about this until he said, if Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, the Lucasfilm Story Group, whoever else was involved in this, if they had just said, we're going to switch to Luke, we're going to switch to Leia, we're going to switch to Darth Vader, Han Solo, Yoda, like we're just going to switch these characters into this hotel, they could have run it at full capacity for years. And despite the fact that they could have done so and made this into something profitable and successful, they're so beholden to these characters that they have created that people don't like, that they elected to keep them locked into the sequel trilogy. And it's so unpopular, they had to shut this thing down. It is more successful as a tax write-down. So I want to go particularly to you, Mr. Lou, or Mr. Ghost, my apologies, but I want to go to you and just say,
I feel
how
like
does
every
this
time
work
you
in
call me
Hollywood?
Mister, every time you call me Mister, I feel like that line where sergeants say, "Don't call me sir, I work for a living." Plain old Ghost will do, but I appreciate the respect.
We call you
Well-
Senor Ghost.
Well, Ghost, share with us then, how different is this versus the way that entertainment in Hollywood used to work? How bizarre is it for a company to stick with a property that is failing to such a degree that they will literally close down and shutter something rather than say, we'll give the people what they want? This is bizarre.
It is, but I think once they had the bad start of doing it their way, that changing it might not have taken the stink of it off. So many people are, once burned, twice shy. And once you lose your reputation, I don't know if that would save it. And I don't know if they really want to. There've been a lot of talk about converting it into other things. But you know what? Physically, it's in a really bad place. I mean, for example, if you made it a sci-fi version of the Adventurers Club, swell. But nobody walks in off the street in Pleasure Island like they did at the Adventurers Club.
Right,
It's
this is
off in
locked
its
away.
little corner. And if you made it an adjunct to Galaxy's Edge with the transfer van, hypersonic, whatevers they were,
The hypersonic U-Haul.
Does anybody want to pay the big price to get in the park and the extra add-ons for jumping the lines, to then spend several hours of their day getting to, getting from, and spending time there as opposed to every place else they bought for their ticket? I don't think so.
You know, you make a really good point about that Adventurers Club thing. People could see into the Adventurers Club and see that people are having a great time.
And Congaloosh, it was the best. It was great. I remember there was
the
a
true
girl
Disney
there.
fans out there know what Congaloosh is. Yes.
Well, there was a girl there who played the French maid, and she had this wonderfully, whether it was put on or not, I don't know, thick Southern accent. She's, "Hi, y'all, I'm Danelle. I'm the French maid." And she's, "Yeah, I'm from the south of France." So they played it. They played it so brilliantly. That was one of the greatest things, and God, I miss it.
Well, that reminds me. A long time ago, I was in southern France, along the French Riviera, and there was a hotel, and perhaps it's still there. There was a hotel that was called Le Alabama, and I thought, I'm not sure you guys got the cultural.
Oh man, that's hilarious! When I was in France, I went to the Cafe Indiana, and they were serving these weird burgers that they thought were American, that they didn't have the top bun, and they were playing South Park on all the TVs.
For real. They didn't quite get the metaphor
right.
No.
Well, okay, so watch this. This is going to show some serious segue skills. Tommy, we're talking about these other countries and other cultures not quite getting the American ideas and thoughts and concepts, and fair enough, it definitely goes in reverse, right? So I'm sure that we absolutely butcher sushi and other ideas from Japan, and we definitely take all kinds of French ideas and mess them up here. Tommy, it feels to me like the Starcruiser and Star Wars in general is very much in the same vein. It feels like Disney doesn't culturally understand Star Wars, and we are all people who have resided in that galaxy enough to know what it should be, and we're sitting here saying, this feels not exactly right. I feel in an uncanny valley with Luke right now.
I think that's a really great point, and I think that's part of it. And the other part, and I'm convinced of this, and a lot of naysayers are out there who say that no, this isn't the case. They're trying their best. Yes, all of these shows and products that they're making from Disney Wars, they suck, but that's just purely unintentional. And I really, going back to your original point, Pro, I really do think that there is some sort of intentional motivation to purposefully not give us what we want, and not give us that nostalgia, that culture. Like I know I should know better. Like I got into a fight with somebody on Twitter again the other day, and they were saying that, how can you say that Lucasfilm doesn't love Luke Skywalker? They spent oodles of money on him in The Mandalorian to de-age him, and then they'd spend oodles of money on him again in that one episode of Book of Boba Fett to de-age him again. They wouldn't have done that if they loved Lucasfilm. I mean, Luke Skywalker. And I mean, to that I answered, I just sent that photo of Luke with his his face crossed out with the red X. That's kind of made the rounds. But Twitter isn't the best place for these types of arguments. But all that being said, it's very much the case that yes, they included Luke, but you can argue that they slipped him into the end of Mandalorian almost under the radar. And the way that they dealt with him and addressed him in Book of Boba Fett was, how do we get him to exit stage right as quickly as possible? Okay, we're gonna have him send Baby Yoda into a war zone in an automated X-wing flown by R2, and then he's not going to show up at all to help Ahsoka with Thrawn. The person I was arguing with is like, oh yeah, he's going to be all over Dave Filoni's new movie, and I sort of said, really? Do you have a source for that? It feels like you're purposely wearing blinders at this point if you don't see that there's some sort of motivation within Lucasfilm. And I know this is getting kind of into conspiracy theory territory, but some sort of malicious intent there to not give the audience just what we're asking for. And it baffles me.
Of course, you mentioned Twitter, and Twitter is, of course, where nuance goes to die. But there's a great comment from Howard Kazanjian that has been making the rounds, and I'll butcher the quote just in the same way that Lucasfilm has butchered the legacy of Luke Skywalker. But he basically just goes through all of the recent Star Wars movies from Disney and says they do not understand what a Jedi is, and they especially do not understand Luke Skywalker.
It's worse. It's worse because when you throw him into that new environment just to get him in there, all right, they want him, we'll give it to him. You're telling the people who love him and want to see him as he was, we're handing you a cookie. Now go away and don't bother us anymore and just watch our new stuff. It wasn't, that's not the Luke Skywalker we're looking for.
And that's a wrap. We have come to the end of the conversation, folks, but the dialogue with all of you is just beginning. Let us know, did you think that we had this right or wrong? Drop a comment down below. We covet your comments. We care about what you think. If you'd like to join in these types of conversations live and be part of the live audience, well, we have the Pro Show live every Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Not only that, but although the show only stays up for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you are a member of the channel, you can access the archives, and they never go away once they're swapped over to there. For the price of a soda, you can become a member of the channel. Just click the join button. All right, like, share, subscribe, and folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun.